Did you know that there are 79,000 franchise units in Australia? If you want to get into franchising, one of your options is to purchase one of those existing outlets if the business comes up for sale. But what are the things you need to look out for to make sure the opportunity is a good investment? Stay with us to find out. Hi, I'm Effie Zahos and you're watching The Franchise Show. We've all heard of flipping houses, but how about flipping businesses? Taking on a low-cost business and building it into a successful earner can be a great way to build equity or create a high-value asset that could net you a pretty penny. Turning a business around is no easy task, but Greg from Michelle's Patisserie in Toronto has done just that.
They sure have, Effie. Usually when you're looking for a business to buy, you want to make sure that the numbers tell a positive story so that you know you've got a solid, profitable business. But if you know what to look for and you're ready to take a bit of a risk, then maybe an underperforming store is just the opportunity for you.
I wanted to be my own boss for two reasons. Firstly, so I could work with my wife, and secondly, we could both control our own destinies.
When you first started looking at businesses to buy, what was it that you were looking for?
We were looking at a business that my wife and I could work together in, and one that we could engage with customers. We didn't want to buy an overly successful store. We wanted an underperforming store with opportunity. It had to be a growing area. The shop itself had to be in a very good location. Had to be a lot of surrounding businesses, and there had to be a lot of foot traffic coming in.
Is there a difference between an underperforming store versus a poorly performing store?
With an underperforming store, what I put that as under benchmarks set, both by the franchisor and the Australian Taxation Office, also poor customer service and poor product display. As opposed to a poor performing store, I took that at they were losing money.
So what did you do to turn the business around?
Staff culture, changing the staff culture to one of engaging with customers, making them more welcome. But also the store presentation wasn't very good. It didn't have enough cakes. We wanted a lot more cakes, a lot more colour, because we're right at the front of the shopping centre. So when people walk past, it's like instant advertising and they can see what we have.
What were some of the things that you really wanted to work on with your team?
Well, what we wanted was suggestive selling, as well as identifying a customer when they walked in by name and personalising it. And we set up a loyalty card system in shop where we kept their coffee orders, their names, so we got to know them.
So at any stage were you scared or worried that you weren't going to be able to turn this business around?
No, when you go into a business, whether it's an underperforming or a brand new one, you've got to go in with a positive attitude, and you've also got to have a business plan. If you follow your plan, it will be successful.
So business planning is an active ingredient for your business?
Absolutely.
What advice would you have for somebody that's in a similar position that you were in looking into an underperforming business?
Well, it's to identify the weak points so you know if you correct those, will the business increase. That's the most important, and it's also getting a staff culture that is shared with yourself and the franchisor, and then the business will start to grow.
Well, thanks so much for your time today, Greg. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for coming to Toronto, and now we could share a coffee.
Many people think of franchising as a way to be their own boss, but do they actually realise they may also be a boss to a willing workforce? Research shows that by the year 2020, more than 500,000 people will be employed in the Australian franchising sector. Whether a boss employs 2 staff members or 20 full-time team members, it's vital that any new business owner takes their responsibility as an employer seriously. The National Retailers Association, Fair Work Australia, and the Griffith University Centre for Franchising Excellence all offer great resources and information to help franchisees be the best boss they can be.
Up next, we find out what you should be looking for when it comes to buying an existing business. You're watching The Franchise Show. If we've heard it once, we've heard it a million times. When it comes to business, due diligence. And you'll soon find out it's vital to research and assess the business opportunity thoroughly before making the final decision.
Hi, I'm Kelly. So you want to buy a franchise? Here are my tips for you. I think the main things to take into account when you're buying a business is to really know yourself. If you're a really friendly, outgoing person, you're going to want to go with something like a cafe. If people aren't your thing and you're not good at making conversation with people, you'd really look at something like, say, a Pool Works or something where you're not interacting with people as much. Are you someone who loves early days? A bakery like a Brumby's would suit you very well. Each franchise is all about creating a family of people that all have the right skills to make that business a success. So it's very important that people who buy the franchise fit into the vision of that franchise. Each brand will offer you a brand book to go through everything from who the executives are in that company to the history of the business and what it has to offer you. So your brand book is key. Also, going out and talking to existing franchise partners is a really great way to understand the brand and what they're offering franchise partners. There's pros and cons of both buying an existing and a new business. With a new store, there's a little bit more intuition that goes into it, but the massive advantage of it is that it's yours. There's no history, there's no bad franchise partner that ran it beforehand. It is yours from day one to build. With an existing business, there's a lot more information you'll get. You'll be able to see exactly what the rent is at, what the sales are at, what sort of potential there is in the business and where it is at that moment that you're buying it. Any seller should be able to give you 2 years certified profit and loss statements so you can really get an understanding of that particular business. Something else you need to consider when you're purchasing your business is not only you need your capital for that opening cost, your initial franchise fee, but you also need to take into account all those extracurricular payments you're going to need to make. Your opening stock, working capital, first week's wages or first month's wages. Each shopping centre generally requires a 3-month bank guarantee. So really look into those extra things that you're going to need to pay for. Ultimately, my biggest tip to you is just ask questions. Everyone's there to help you in this process.
Buying an established business can be a lot easier than starting from scratch, especially as you should have a positive cash flow from day one. But there are a few drawbacks. First, be sure the numbers stack up. Always have your accountant go over the books of the business. And your accountant can also help you decide if the asking price, particularly the value of any goodwill, is fair and realistic. If you can, try and find out what the seller is selling. And ask about a handover period where the current owner can support you through the transition. Now, they may want to be paid for this, so you've got to factor that into your cash flow. Most importantly, consider whether you can build the business into something bigger and better. And will the staff and customers remain loyal under your ownership? Sometimes the skills or talent of the current owner are so central to the success of the venture that a newcomer can struggle to generate the same bottom line.
Hi, I'm Pam. Myself and my husband are the franchisees for both Brumby's Callowvale and Brumby's Parkridge. We've had some bloody good years and we've had some tough years, and they're tough for different reasons. Sometimes we just don't have the team that we want. Sometimes it's just not happening for whatever reason.
When you sign up with a franchise, they take you through the whole training process. So I spent about 5 weeks in what we call our coffee university. So 3 weeks down in Sydney at our support office and 2 weeks in another coffee house, learning all the systems and processes that take place.
10, 20 years ago, we didn't have the offerings we've got today. But to get to that good product, there's a lot of R&D, there's a lot of research, there's a lot of behind-the-scenes activity going on. Our head chef does a phenomenal job, and he's, responsible for what we can put together. But if they come in and they're not in favour of any of our offerings, we'll build whatever they want with what we've got. So we're flexible.
The biggest challenge has been building a new team from the ground up and finding team members that are as passionate as we are about serving our guests and making coffee. Awesome. We'll call out your name when the order's ready. Thanks, Ty.
For those who've got the energy, the enthusiasm, the drive and the passion and only want to work with the best, it's for them.
You got to do your due diligence. Heaps of options out there. So find something that you're passionate about, be willing to learn and then give it a good go.
Do your research. You are buying a job sometimes. The ultimate game, I think, has to be buying a lifestyle. But at the end of the day, you're the one responsible for not only your life and your children's life, but the people who work for you, but also to have lots of fun.
Don't go anywhere. We've got more business tips and franchising facts coming up on The Franchise Show. When you take over an existing business, you're not just buying physical assets. Don't forget about the people who have been working for the previous owner. It's a big plus to take on a franchise with a fully trained team who already know the ins and outs of running your business. Now, Sarah met with our resident business advisor, Bruce Sullivan, who gave us his tips for managing the transition into a new business.
Your first day on a new job can be pretty tough, but imagine you're the boss meeting your team for the first time. So, Bruce, that can be a pretty daunting experience. Where do people usually go wrong?
I think that most people go wrong thinking that right at the beginning they should know everything and or pretending that they do. Both of those are quite dangerous. I think the other thing too is sending a message to people that everything's going to change, that something was bad in the past. And I think that if you've been in a business for a while as an employee and someone's coming in and day one going, it's all going to change, there's kind of this implication that maybe everything that you've done has been rotten and bad and we're going to change everything, and that just sends a really bad message right from the start.
What should people do to make a good first impression?
I think be a really good student. Make it obvious right from the start that you're here to learn from the people that have been in this business a while, not just from the staff, but also from the customers. I think the second thing people can do is demonstrate gratefulness. Be really grateful when you don't know anything about the business necessarily. You might have done your franchise training or you might have done some work. Be really grateful to the people that do know what's going on and be appreciative of those people. I think the other thing that people can do right at the start is share their vision for the business. Talk about the brightness of the future. You know, there's a new energy, there's new management, and we're not diminishing anything that's happened in the past. So again, reinforcing that, but talk really excitedly about what this could be in the future. Opportunities for customers and staff to grow the business and potentially even other businesses as well. And I think it's really important right from the start to ask the existing staff if they were the new owner, what would you change? What would be their vision for the business? If they had some money to spend or something to do differently with customers, what would they do to help the business grow?
So what's your advice for retaining quality team members?
I think it needs to be really obvious to your quality team members, once you've identified who they are, that it's your intention to provide opportunity for them. And I think learning who they are, like what are their key engagement drivers? What plugs them in? Some people are here just for the money. Some people are here for the opportunity. Yeah. Some people may want to buy their own franchise or their own business one day and they're hoping to learn from you. So I think really early it's important to find out what their drivers are.
And what advice do you have for effectively managing teams?
I think the best advice for trying to manage teams is to not manage the people in the team, but manage agreements. People are way too weird and complicated. Everyone's got their stuff. And I think instead of trying to manage people, manage agreements. And you can set some really clear agreements about, you know, it's really important that we meet this level of standard of service. Do we agree this will be the best for the customers? Do we agree that this will be best for us? And I think in those agreements, you agree what's okay and what's not okay.
So what do successful managers do that other people don't?
Look, that's a really long list of behaviours. I think something that sits right at the top of that is that they're not afraid to lead. Leadership is not necessarily a democracy. It's really important that there's someone in charge of the business and it's important that it's the owner and that they involve people in the business and they get really clear about getting direction from people in the business. But ultimately, I think someone needs to be in charge.
Thanks so much, Bruce. You've really provided some great insights that I think people can really take away.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Renee and I'm the Baskin Robbins franchisee, Paradise Point and Helensvale. I took over an existing franchise originally. I inherited all of the staff, worked with them for quite some time, probably a month, 2 months. It's ice cream, it's a fun environment and we want our staff to have the drive and passion to give their customers great experiences every time.
People think that product is probably the key to a business, but on par with product is definitely staff. If you invest in your staff, it's probably the best investment that you can have. Running 3 businesses, I have managers in all 3. I trust those managers 100% and I trust the staff under them. It does take time to develop that, but by investing in them, fundamentally they are investing back into my company.
Coming into the store when it was already running as a corporate store, there were some challenges there. I wanted to come in gently and get a feel for how it was running and see where improvements need to be made and then see where the processes need to be fixed. You're taking over an existing culture So you've got to work with what's there. It's a big thing I try to do is have a personal rapport with each and every staff member. One-on-one meetings, you'll get stuff out of people that you wouldn't in a team meeting because the quieter personalities won't speak up. And then a team meeting, that shared environment where everyone feels like they're a part of something. I get a lot of traction out of that as well.
It sounds like a top tip from new franchisees is to take a gentle approach to get to know the team and business before making any major changes. Sounds like great advice to me. Now, for more insights from real Aussie franchisees, stay with us on The Franchise Show. Now, if you've made the decision to buy a franchise, the hard work isn't just up to you. You can work with commercial real estate agents and brokers to find the opportunity that's right for you. We caught up with someone who has been helping people buy and sell franchises for years to get some insights from the seller's side.
One of the first things you need to think about when considering selling your business is it the right decision for you, your family? You want to think about how you're going to sell the business, whether you sell it privately or whether you sell it through a professional, such as a business or a franchise broker. There's a lot of work that's required in making sure all the documentation, the accounts are up to date and everything can be provided to a buyer in good time. First thing I would look at is getting your accounts and books up to date and accessible. Make sure you've got all your paperwork and your legal information correct, business details, contracts, details of sales and big clients. If you're selling a business with premises, make it look as good as it can, same as if you were selling a house and you might renovate. The biggest mistake we find when people are looking to sell their business is overvaluation. Selling a business is a very emotional thing. A lot of sellers have built that business up over many years and can be very unrealistic with their expectations. Another mistake is exaggerating a business's strengths or keeping a bit quiet about its weaknesses, and it will always come out in the due diligence, so just be really honest and transparent.
Missed an episode? Catch up on all our stories on the website, thefranchiseshow.com.au.
Beaumont Tiles are, well, a pretty big organisation now. We started really small and we've gradually built it up over a long period of time and now we've got 114 outlets selling the most gorgeous tiles and bathroomware you could ever imagine.
Hi, I'm Paul.
And I'm Trent.
And we are the franchisees of Beaumont Tiles Geelong. I've been in the tile industry probably for about 16 years. Worked for another company in Geelong and then decided to go out by myself and got into a Beaumont franchise.
The main point with Beaumont's is that we've got a lot of flexibility with our business. We offer bathroomware, anything from vanities, tapware, mirrors, tall boys, towel rails, anything to do with bathroomware, we can offer it, which we find is awesome to be able to upsell and to cross-sell with our clients coming looking for tiles.
But we get pretty enthusiastic about our tiles and we have these great buyers who go around the world looking at the very best possible new products and new trends. And then, of course, there's all of the advertising that we do and we communicate very, very strongly on all of the promotions that we do so that everybody knows just what's happening.
The brand, it speaks for itself. It's the biggest in the country. The advertising that we currently have, radio, TV, magazines, it really is second to none, and that was the motivating force for us to join a company of this size.
With Beaumont Tiles management team, I think they really enjoy helping out the franchises as well, really enjoy them being successful.
We have this fundamental philosophy that the franchisee has to make money first, and a lot of franchise groups just don't have that. The franchisee's got to make money first. OK, the franchisor soon after that. But if you don't do it that way, you don't have a franchise group. You just don't. So our point of philosophy is that we really care about our franchisees and we hope that they care about us. It's a two-way street.
To deal with senior management with Beaumont's has been an absolute treat. They're professional in every way, and I really believe that they've got the best management team of any of our competitors in the industry. So to deal with them was streamlined, efficient, professional, and yeah, it just made the process so much easier for us.
The personal goals that probably I set for myself was to be able to have more time with my family as well, and also give them a better quality of life due to owning a franchise. We do a lot of camping, so I have just purchased a new caravan, which is was on my bucket list to upgrade, which is fantastic. So we are heading off pretty soon for a big holiday. Also going overseas at the end of the year. So these things mightn't have been achievable if we didn't have a Beaumont's franchise.
If your culture as a franchisee or as a potential franchisee doesn't match with the culture of the franchisor, don't go there. So figure out what their culture is, figure out what the culture of the franchisor is, figure out whether there's any conflict there and whether that then dovetails in with your philosophy.
Bob has very high morals, very good work ethics, and he's all about the people. There's no doubt he's all about the people. And you know, that's evident by the way that we're trying to grow our leaders in the business.
And we just love our tiles. We just love them so much.
People buy from people. Yes, the product's, you know, the right price and the right colour, but at the end of the day, I think people just buy from people.
Yeah, I just think from a business point of view, it's the way to go, that your people are everything in business, and without them, you've got nothing.
Whether you're buying or selling a business in the future, we hope you got something out of today's show that will help you on your journey. We look forward to seeing you next week on The Franchise Show. I'm Effie Zamos.